Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being on the call today. I really appreciate that. So, got some great stuff to cover today. Some little helpful hints as well. So, get started here. Last week's 5Q tape breakdown. What happens when a client is looking for a solution in the middle of the disclosure meeting? This advisor does a phenomenal job of answering the question. Well, should I just move all the money? So, these are the kind of things that you have to be able to do on your feet. So take a listen to how that's handled. It's got some great information you could use there. Credit card debt is worse for those with high income. Adults with a net worth of $100,000 or more are struggling the most, according to a new report. Why is that important, guys? Why is that important? Oops, I don't have my, there it is. So why is it important to us or to the economy or to the stock market if consumer debt is as high? Look at this. Here's where it was in 2008. Here's where it is today. Almost what? Double. Yes, Till's got it. We're a consumer-driven economy. We're a consumer-driven economy. So when debt is high like that, how much wiggle room do we have before people stop spending? If there's even a tiny little recession, what happens? And we're not talking about the lower, like we said, we're not talking about the people with no money. We're talking about who drives the economy. People, making $40,000 a year, or those people making $100,000 a year. And they're the ones with the most debt. It's crazy. It's crazy. Despite 10 years of economic growth, consumers are still just barely keeping up. It's a warning sign. While household income has grown over the past decade, it's failed to keep up with the increased cost of living over the same period. So even though income is up, it's not kept up with the cost of living. So how do Americans deal with that? Tighten their belts, or what do they do? Apparently, to bridge the gap, more Americans are relying on credit cards as one of the most expensive ways to borrow. Credit card rates are now stand at 17.4 on average. Even a mild recession coupled with a very high card rates could cause a lot of pain for card debtors. And if it's causing pain for card debtors, what else is going to cause pain for? If it's causing pain for those people, yeah, all exactly. This is an important thing. How to accept a compliment. It ends up a lot of people don't know how to accept a compliment, and it's important that you know how. You can actually lose cases. There's this. I read maybe some of you remember this from about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. I talked about there was a software company in Australia, and one of their biggest customers needed help. And it was during a holiday in Australia, and they had, they said all hands on board. They worked round the clock from Friday all the way through Sunday and got that thing fixed for that other company. And when the other company said, "Oh wow, thank you, I can't believe you did that," and guess what? The company that dropped everything, had all hands on board, took all of their, worked round the clock through the weekend. The CEO said, "Oh, that's no problem." And 6 months later, they lost that company. They lost that customer. Why? When they went back and asked, they said, "Well, it just didn't seem like you were giving us, the kind of attention we wanted." He's like, "Dude, how about that thing we did for you 6 months ago?" And guess what they said? "Well, you said there was no problem." See, here's how to accept a compliment. First, here's what not to say. "Oh, it was nothing. You have my team to thank for that, not me. Oh, if we could do it over, we would have done it even better." See, praise is a gift. Praise is a gift they're giving you, and if you diss that gift, how does the person feel that gives you that compliment? See, you've rejected them. You've rejected their gift. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. See, that praise, it's not really about you. It's about them, because people feel good when they give praise. So first, resist the urge to say, "No, I'm not," and simply say thank you. If nothing else, just say thank you. If you don't know what else to say thank you. So you can follow up by giving praise to something or someone who's helped you. "Hey, I love your dress." "Thank you. It's from blah, blah, blah. I love their stuff. It's so well made." Don't say, "Oh, please, this old thing, but you look gorgeous." See, that makes the person who gave the praise feel good or uncomfortable if you say this not phrase right here. The person who gave that praise, does that make them feel good or comfortable? Yeah, it makes them feel negative, right, David? So here's another one. "Great job with your presentation today." Good thing to say, "Thanks. Sam's been helping me with it, and which has made it a lot less stressful." What not to say is, oh my God, I was so nervous. I'm glad that's over. Dining buddy, wow, this food is so delicious. Thanks, it's Jamie Oliver recipe. Isn't it amazing? Not to say, oh no, I don't know. I don't think it's that salty enough. Is it salty enough? And that seems like you're looking for what? Oh, I don't know. I think it's salty enough. Is it salty enough? Is it salty? What's that make it look like? You're looking for what? More praise. Exactly right. So when you get a compliment, accept it. Accept that compliment. The best way is to own it. So if you're really good at something and you've worked hard for it, then for goodness sakes, be okay with the fact that you're good at it. You don't. This is actually from the C method on how to accept a compliment. So that's why you've got the little thing at the top there. You don't have to be a douche about it. I mean, you don't have to go bragging about it. But there's a difference between saying thanks, I'm pretty good, aren't I? And thanks, I'm really proud of what I've achieved. Thanks, I'm really good, aren't I? No, you don't want to do that. But say thanks, I put a lot of work into this. I'm really proud of what I was able to put together. There's a big difference there. If someone's going to think less of you because you're proud of an achievement, well, I think they deserve an unfriending anyway. So here's how to own it. Wow, you did so well on that 10K fun run. Thanks, I ran a personal best. I'm really happy about that. I wish I could play a guitar like you. You're amazing. Thanks, I practice every day. It helps improve me a lot. Pastor, nice, nice parallel park. You know it. So occasionally it's okay to tongue-in-cheek take credit as well. But that's right. I think that's the best way to say it, Daniel, is be humble but accepting. Accept the compliment. So a lot of us don't know how to accept the compliment. It's important that you know how to do that. Make sense? Cool. So I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from the 21-point checklist. Got a couple of feedback questions, a question and a feedback question. First of all, guys, remember I said, do I misspell? Those that have watched it, did I misspeak a couple of times and say something was going to go up rather than down or down rather than up? Did I do that a couple of times? Yeah. Did that ruin the presentation? No. It's a 2-hour presentation. What's the likelihood that I or you or anybody's going to go through a 2-hour presentation of talking without misspeaking once or twice or 5 times? Very little. But the good thing is, does it have anything to do with it working? No, it has nothing to do with the working. But a couple of other comments that I had was this, is that one is that it seems like you've got a lot of rhetorical questions or patronizing questions. And here's the analogy I give for that, because when a lot of guys come on board, they'll use the 21-point checklist or practice a 21-point checklist with their wife, and they'll come back and say, my wife looked at me like I had 7 heads and said, that's not going to work. I mean, it sounds like you're interrogating me. I mean, what are you doing? This is stupid. And that's what the wife says. And here's the analogy I give. If your wife comes out or tells you that the car is broken, okay, hey, the car's not working right, it's making a funny sound, and so go look. So I say, I'll go look at it. I look at it, and I call my wife out into the garage. I say, okay, Michelle, here. Okay, this is the engine, obviously, and I mean we all know that. These are the spark plugs. And guess what they do? They spark. Yeah, and we put gas in our car, and that's the fuel. So guess what these are going to spark? The gas. Well, and the reason that, what is she starting to say? With me asking those questions, what is she starting to think? Get annoyed? Yeah, she's getting annoyed. The reason being is because, does she trust me? Does she trust me? Am I going to try to screw her by fixing the car? No, I'd only be screwing myself, right? So she looks at me like, I told you the car was broken so you could fix it, not you, so you could explain it to me, right? Because she already trusts me. Now, let's say that she goes to a garage. She's a single woman, and she goes to a garage, and what's she afraid about with the garage? Does she trust the garage? So when they come out and say, okay, yeah, everything's great, here's your $1,800 bill. Is she going to be happy with that, or is she going to be suspicious of that? Yeah, she's going to be suspicious. So instead, what if they said, ma'am, could you come out here a second? We want to show you what happened here. Obviously, this, the problem is with the engine, and one of the things we looked at was spark plugs. And do you know what spark plugs do? Well, yeah, yeah. And what do? They make spark. Yeah, they make spark. And we put gas in the car. So guess what? They're sparking. Well, the gas. Now, how is she going to receive that? Does she appreciate that he is taking the time to walk her through this rather than just shoving a bill in her face? See, that's the difference. So, Jeff, what would you say to that comment about the rhetorical questions and patronizing questions?
Yeah, it's funny because I hear people say that at training too. But when you're sitting back, it's a lot different than when you're getting asked the questions. When you're answering and you're involved, you don't feel that way. When you're sitting there and you're just picking apart and listening to somebody and critiquing somebody, I think that's a common critique, but I promise you, people don't feel that way. And when I listen to your tapes, even the ones that go 3.5 hours long, I don't hear anybody saying, hey, you're patronizing me. I've never heard that.
In fact, it sounds like the clients are engaged or not engaged.
It sounds
happy
like they're
or not
engaged.
Happy.
No, they're happy.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the first question. Second question is that's come up actually twice here, so I want to clarify something. So I'm going to bring up the internet here. So guys, let me ask you a question. What were interest rates doing in the 1970s? What were interest rates doing in the 1970s? Yes, and what was the stock market doing in the 1970s? There's only one decade worse than 2010. Guess what decade that was? The 70s, yeah. So also, why is President Trump keep bugging the Fed to lower interest rates? Why does he keep bugging the Fed to lower interest rates? Yeah, because he wants the stock market to go up. Exactly. So I've had a couple of questions on the bond script. So we all know that if interest rates go up, what's going to happen to bonds? They're going to go down. So here's the question that I had on, and they said, Mike, I think you misspoke on the bond. So let me play this.
Down.
And it goes up to 4% what's having the buying value of your $200.
And it's going down.
So what's happening to your lifestyle?
Well, it's going down.
It's going down. And here's the other thing you should know is this, is stocks and interest rates work similarly. We've just seen interest rates go down. When the Fed lowers them, what happens to the stock market?
Usually goes up.
So what's going to happen, this is stocks, this is interest rates. So guess what's going to happen when interest rates go down? What's going to happen to stocks?
They're going to go down.
So now your what went down?
The bonds went down.
And your what went down?
Stocks went down.
So did I misspeak there, or is that what happens? If interest rates go up, what's going to happen to bonds? They're going to go down. What's going to happen to stocks? They're going to what? So now where's the person going to pull money from? If their money's in stocks and bonds, where's the person going to pull money from? Yeah, they're in the pickle, proverbial pickle market, right? So did I misspeak there, or did I mean to say stocks there, guys? Super. Hey, and so the guys that asked that question, could you please respond if you're on the call? So the couple of guys that answered that, make sure that you got that so I don't have to reach back out to you. Okay, so does that make sense to everybody? Any questions on that? Okay, so let me get out of here. So the next thing I want to talk about is the difference. What some successful people. 5 go up bonds and stocks go down. What I don't understand what you're saying, Till. When interest rates, I still don't understand what you're saying, Till. So we're back here. Help, Till. What are you saying there? So are you disagreeing, Till, or agreeing that when interest rates go up, stocks go down? Okay, good. Interest rates go Up, bonds and stocks. Okay, good. I wasn't following what you. Okay, so we're all on the same page. Okay, good. So let's go with the different. I'm going to talk about some successful people. Shoot, who played? Now I'm blanking on. Oh, Nick Offerman. We're going to talk about Nick Offerman. We're going to talk about Nick Foles, Andy Forch, and Malcolm McDowell and what they do in their day to make them successful. So, but I love this picture graph. So successful people continuously learn. They embrace change. They read every day. They talk about ideas. They give other people credit for their victories. That's a little bit different. We said, now if somebody compliments you, you're going to take credit for that, right? But but you also need to give credit to other folks as well. Keep a to-be list. To be what you want to be. Share info and data. Set goals and develop life plans. What do I think about goals, guys? We're coming into the beginning of the year. What do I think about goals? Those of you who've been with me a long time. Most of you guys, yay, you guys are so smart. Yeah, I hate goals. I hate goals. Why? Because when you set a goal, how long does it take before you get behind on that goal? And then what do you do after you get behind on that goal? Give up. I don't care if it's making money, losing weight, whatever. So I never had a goal, never will have a goal, but what I do is I set up a system. I set up a system or a strategy, right? So what I'll do is I'll work backwards. Say, okay, what do I want to do? Okay, if I want to make so much money, then what I'm going to do is say, okay, well, how much? If I want to make $2 million this year, how much does that equate to how much business I need to write? Okay, that's how much business I need to write. And then I say, okay, if that's how much business I need to write, what's my average ticket size? Okay, my average ticket size is $350. Okay, then I divide that number by 350,000. Then I say, okay, that means I need to close this many cases. What's my closing ratio at number 2 meetings? Okay, then I know that. Then I know how many people I need to get in front of to close. Then I say, okay, well then I need to know, or if it's 85%, then I say, okay, well then I need to get in front of so many people to get my 85%. So you work backwards from that. Make a system. See, systems I can control. Activity I can control. I cannot control a goal. I cannot control how much business I write. Therefore, if I have a bad month, if I have a system and I have a bad month, what can I do? If I have a system and I have a bad month, what can I do? Well, if I've had a great 3 months, then I don't have to do anything. But if I've had a bad 2 months, then you're right. Everybody's got it. I got to fix the system, tweak it. Apparently, my closing ratio isn't 85%. It's only 75%. That means I need to see more people. So you tweak the system, not the goal. I never worry about the goal. I worry about the system. Does that make sense? So that's what don't set goals. Have a system in place. Operate from a transformational perspective. Compliment people. Accept responsibility for failures. What's the number one reason people don't record their meetings? Jeff, how many times have we ever recorded a meeting that our batteries went dead on us?
I have never had the batteries go dead.
Yeah, 20 years, never had it happen. How many times have we heard advisors that the battery went dead on them?
I've heard that a lot.
Guys, there's a reason why we don't want to record, and what is that? If we don't record, we can pretend like we're doing everything what? And Jeff, you and I have both heard this where, Jeff, no, I know I didn't do a perfect meeting. But I know I did pretty darn well. But they didn't move forward. What happened? Can you help me out? Well, do you have a tape? No, I don't have a tape. What do you say to guys when they say that? I did, I admit there's a few problems. I'm not saying I did it perfect, but I did it, I did pretty darn well on it, but they still didn't move forward. What did I do wrong?
Yeah, there's no way to know. I mean, it's kind of like a quarterback who throws an interception, and the coach is going to come out, as the quarterback comes off the sideline, he's going to say, dude, why'd you throw into double coverage? There wasn't double coverage there. Yeah, there was. No, there was a window there. No, there wasn't. You have to see they have to watch the tape.
Yeah.
There's no other way to do it.
Tapes don't lie. Yeah, tapes don't lie. So the number one reason people don't tape is not because they forgot the recorder. Guys, do you ever forget your computer when you go to a meeting? So if you don't forget your computer, you don't forget your tape recorder. Your batteries don't go dead. I mean, the reason is that you're afraid of accountability. But it's the accountability. Even if you don't send the tapes to Jeff and myself, that's okay. But record yourself and critique yourself. That's how I went from making 50 grand to over $1 million in just 3 years, less than 3 years, a 20-fold increase. The number one reason is I taped my meetings because I couldn't fool myself like I had for the previous 8 years that I was doing the right thing. Want others to succeed and keep a journal. Unsuccessful people secretly hope others fail. Instead, we should be wanting people to succeed, not to fail. Take all the credit for their victories. They don't know what they want to be. They fly by the seat of their pants. Here's a good indication. Jeff, how many times do you get calls and say, okay, I'm meeting somebody here tonight, and I need to know these 3 things? Too often or not often enough?
Pretty too often.
And guys, is that flying by the seat of your pants? Guess when I did all my case planning? See how many of you remember me telling you. When did I do all my case planning? Yep, weekend, Saturday morning. Very good, you guys. Saturday morning, I got to work at 5 o'clock. And the reason being is I had small children at that point. I didn't want to waste my weekend in the office. So I got there at 5 o'clock, and I had all my cases planned for the following week. So was I ever flying by the seat of my pants? Never, never, never. Criticizing other people, operating from a transactional perspective instead of so should we all have CRMs and should we all be having annual meetings with our clients, guys? Yes. They exude anger. They never set goals. Well, I never set goals, but again, you got to have a system in place. Don't worry about goals. They talk about people. They gossip. They hoard information and data instead of sharing it. They hold a grudge. They watch TV every day. They don't keep, or they say they keep a journal, but they don't. Guys, I don't keep a journal, and I watch plenty of TV, but I also do plenty of reading, and I do all these other things. So these are not all negative things, but you got to have life balance. And if you want more on the white side or more on the black side, more on the white side. Make sense? So what do Nick Offerman, Malcolm McDowell, and pardon my non-knowledge about football, but is it Nick Foles or Foley's? Jeff should tell me.
Nick Foles.
Foles, okay. And then Andy Forch is he started Huckberry, which is one of the fastest growing retailers out there. So these are all guys that we're going to talk about what they do with their day. So a typical morning for Nick Foles, he's up at 4:45, has a bulletproof coffee, yuck, Bible devotionals and journal. And see, there he journals. 2 hours of film study, and then he gets on with the day. Typical morning for Forch, well, up at 5:45, drinks a glass of water, looks at my calendar to visualize my day. And visualizing and journaling is very, very similar because you're getting in touch with what's important to you on a daily basis. Most of us, I mean, if you don't journal and you don't visualize your day, how many of us even think about what's important to us on a daily basis? Usually we only think of what's important to us when something bad happens. See, journalizing and visualizing daily has us at least focus once a day on what is most important to us. That's the importance of journaling. Think about any tough or fun conversations so they can be prepared for those during the day. And then he bikes to work and he uses that time to reflect on those things. Malcolm McDowell, he's up at 8, goes to the coffee shop. I never schedule anything in the morning. I only do things of value in the morning. I do most of my writing in the morning. Research shows that an hour in the morning is worth 2 in the afternoon when it comes to creativity. Do we need creativity for having a 21-point checklist? No. Creativity is when you're creating things. So having 21-point checklist in the afternoon is just fine. I save afternoons for that is not creative to do. Typical morning routine for Mr. Offerman, get up at 5 a.m., get to it. I don't describe let's walk down to the coffee shop and see what cute flower the barista can make in my latte. So here's the thing. Look at these. He's up at 4:45. He's up at 5:45. He's up at 8 and goes to a coffee shop. He's up at 5 and doesn't go to a coffee shop. So is there one way to start your morning? No. But what should we draw from this? There is not one way to start a morning. What we should draw from is they have a purpose. The morning is important, and they have a system in the morning. Whatever works for you, fine, but have a system. Okay? Or have a system. Biggest daily challenge. How does Fools handle that? Some days I can go 1,000,000 miles an hour and get everything done, but I slow down when my body tells me to. So he's saying that some days you just need to take a what? Take a break. How does Forge handle daily challenges? It takes effort to keep my day structured. I think this is a great one. I think this guy is the one that this guy is probably going to be the most similar to us, that he has to show up at the office. You know, an athlete is going to be different, an actor is going to be different, and a writer is going to be different. This guy is the most similar to us and how we should watch our deal with our daily lives. It takes effort to keep my day structured. Guys, does it? So I believe in batching blocks of time together. I block time in the morning to handle the most important things in the morning. What does he mean by block? He means he puts them together all at one point, but he also means what? Puts them into the what? Calendar. Not only does he block his tasks, he blocks his calendar so that he's doing the most important things in the morning. And how do I stay structured? Guys, if I have a blank in my calendar, if I have an hour free in my calendar, guess what I'm doing? What do you think I'm doing if I have an hour free in my calendar? Yeah, people are saying reading and blah. Yeah, but I think David's closest to it. I'll come back to him in a second. Planning. No, guess what I'm doing with an hour free in my calendar? Surfing the web, checking my news feeds, checking Instagram. Why? Because I have no better discipline than anybody else on this call. Guess how I deal with my discipline? Blocking, that's right. My calendar is blocked with everything so that I'm doing what's on it. Because if there is a free time on my calendar, I am not disciplined enough not to be dicking around with it. Just like with my dieting, I don't have the discipline to diet. So guess what I tell my wife? When she asks, do I want ice cream? What do I say? When she goes to the grocery store, do I want ice cream? What do I say? No, don't bring. If the ice cream's in the freezer, guess what I'm going to do? Eat it. But if there's no ice cream in the freezer in Minnesota when it's 10 degrees out, am I going to get in my car, drive down to the grocery store to get ice cream at 9 o'clock at night? No way. So if it's there, I'm going to eat it. If it's not, I'm not going to. So the way we discipline, at least the way I discipline myself, is guess what? When I get up in the morning, I go work out. I don't want to work out. And sometimes I say, you know what, I'm going to go down there to the gym, and I'm not going to work out. I'm just going to walk. But by the time I get to there, I go ahead and do it. But I don't discipline myself to work out, but I do discipline myself to go to the gym. I don't discipline myself to have discipline to get things done today, but I put it into the calendar. When it's the calendar, I do it. I discipline myself with food by not having it in the house. So, guys, have ways to discipline yourself. Don't just rely on your iron discipline. Does that make sense? How does Malcolm deal with challenges? I have to make time to read, listen, and learn. Without learning, you're coasting. That is hard when you're busy in life and business, but it must be done to continue to grow. So you got to be constantly learning. Every day you need to do a little learning. What's the way I want you guys to learn every day? Oops. What's the way that I would prefer that you guys learn every day? Very good, David. See if anybody else gets it. Yay, everybody's getting it. The 15-minute drill. Oh, you guys are awesome. The 15-minute drill. Yeah, that's how we get better every single day. What time suck do you try to avoid? When I'm working, I stay off my phone. I leave it in the other room. No checking email, no checking news feed, no social media, no surfing the web. And guys, I do this exact same thing. When I'm working on a project, when I'm designing writing a newsletter, when I'm designing writing these coaching calls, anything like that, guess where my phone is? It's off. turned off. Not like black screen. No, turn it off. Because when you hear a ping, guess what? You're going to answer it. I mean, it's just natural. You can't, or you're going to at least think about it. It's going to interrupt your mind. So, I mean, when you're doing something, get off your phone, get off your email, get off your Instagram. The only thing you should be working on is the thing you're working on. Dealing with the daily grind. How do you deal with the daily grind, the in and out of every single day? Well, I don't take work home with me. If I can't get it done in 12 hours, what the heck am I doing? This is interesting. If I can't get it done in how many hours, guys? 12. What's his work day? I agree. Don't take it home, but does he consider it an 8-hour day a work day, or does he consider a 12-hour day a work day? Dealing with the grind. Lunch run. He has a lunch run club every day to run, socialize, and have fun. Every 4 years takes a complete month off. Guys, you got to work hard when you're at work, but you also have to take what? You got to take breaks. We talked about this 3 or 4 months ago, that really every single hour you should be taking a 5 to 10 minute break, and then every 2 hours you should be taking about a 20-minute break. Daily grind. I just trust that I'll hit my stride and make it through. So I mean this is not this is good advice and bad advice, because when you're really this is grit, right? This is just gutting it out. But if you're just trying, and you've been trying for 2 hours, what do you need to do at that point? Take a walk. Take a break. Take a walk. Take a break. Then come back at it. Dealing with adversity. I left my job in finance with no money, no experience in retail. Nobody believed in me, not my parents, not my friends, not even my wife, but I was all in with no backup plan. So that's the burn the boats mentality, right? That's how you deal with adversity, because you either believe in yourself or you don't believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, guess what? Doesn't matter if everybody else believes in you. Nothing's going to happen. But if you believe in yourself, it doesn't matter if anybody believes in you. Does not. So what personality trait got you where you are today? I know when to say no to things. And that's one of the things I'll talk to an advisor, a successful advisor, and he goes, yeah, I'm just struggling because, I'm on this board and I'm coaching and blah, 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 blah. Eventually you got to say what? No to some things. Can you be good at everything? No, you can't. So you're better off clearing your calendar and then adding only one thing on your calendar at a time and seeing if it's affecting the other things you're working on. If it's not, then go ahead and add something else. But don't add things that are causing you to not be able to do the other things that you should be doing in your life, whether it's being a better father or a mother, whether it's being a better financial advisor, whether it's being a better person giving back to the community. Don't do so many things that you aren't good or aren't the best you can be at all those things. Being genuine. I don't do things I don't believe in. What personality trait got you where you are today? My confidence. Remember, he's the burn the boat mentality. Everybody told him that it was stupid to quit his job with no money and start a retail company. But he says, my confidence, knowing that if I fail, I can always pick myself back up. Do you think he'd be afraid of doing the 15-minute drill? No. What personality trait got you where you are today? The ability to show up and work every day. I'm not a general or a visionary. I am the invaluable lieutenant who gets things done. So what lessons should we draw from these guys? Number one, have structure. Is everybody's structure going to be the same? Did every one of these guys get up at the same time? No, got up at different times. But they all had some sort of structure. Did they all have laser-like focus on what they wanted to do? Have confidence and willingness to fail and work hard. So this is what, if you do these things, this is what you'll succeed in 2020. So in 2020, when you mastered your crib notes and your motive, and the motive, getting them to say the motive, you got the 2-hour video now, right? Your daily practice of your MIFT, your 5-minute moneymaker and breakdowns. Your goal should be to close what percentage of clients in 2020? All you want. So what's all you want? See, all you want, that's a good answer, but is that a good, so give me the exact, I see what you're saying, all you want. Well, how many do you want, Tom and Nick? How many do you want to close? Yeah, there you go. Have that number in your head so that when you do, see, if you have that number in your head of 90% or whatever it is, and then you miss 2 closes, what's that tell you? I got to go back and see what I'm doing wrong. Make sense? So guys, thank you so much for a wonderful 2019. I look forward to working with all you in 2020. We will not have a call next week, so you can enjoy the Christmas and Hanukkah and everything, or all the other festivities, including the New Year. And we'll talk to you here the first Monday after the first of 2020. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you guys. Happy holidays.